Good morning. I'm streaming live from my velvet bed because I just don't want to get up and go downstairs just yet, but I have to in a minute. I also need to wash my hair tonight or today because I have a wedding to officiate tomorrow, and I gotta tighten up at least this front. Oh Lord. But anyways, oh great, we have a few people on, and that's wonderful. So, and not to be catty, but I did notice something. Two things I noticed last night when I was doing a reading for someone, and also in reading, because I really stayed out of the fray about this whole wife school thing. And then I had to stop to think about this because somebody made a very valid point. So let's first of all start talking about this whole wife school thing. Yeah, I'm not really down with the archaic and chauvinistic values that someone continues to spew, and I think it is like human trafficking, so selling someone into a lifestyle of oppression. Some people are really down with that submissive thing. And I tried to explain submission even from my perception when I was a Christian. Well, let me tell you how I understand submission to a mate. I'm not a Christian, so I don't have to follow none of that shit. And all of it was written by Paul, whoever the hell he was, 300 years after Christ died. These are not the people that walked with Jesus Christ, y'all. These were the Roman Catholics and the people that were trying to decide how they were going to form their cult into a religion. So you have to understand where these philosophies come from. And women back then, as they are now, have always been extremely spiritual, powerful. Even most men will agree that women tend to be more spiritually powerful in most cases. That's not to say that they're not extremely powerful spiritual men, but the ones who I know possess a lot of power always give that nod to the divine feminine. We men, yes, we need the seed to produce life. My Mambo is messaging me, but I can't talk right now, Mambo. And some chick that I just deleted off this wife school post because she wanted us to have it's all personal perspective. No, it's not. It's really fuck shit, y'all. And even if I was a Christian, even if I did believe in submission to men, that is not it. Let me tell you something. If I ever, when I was a Christian, would have been able to find a man that would be able to be the head of the household and make the leadership, the first thing is if you were going to follow the truth of the Bible, the Bible says that the man has to love the wife like Christ loved the church. Well, guess what? Then that means that when that man went to make that decision of the leader as a leader, that the first thing that he thought of before he thought of anything else was how I felt. Now, ask a man who talks all of this submission shit if they think about the way their partner feels before they make a decision. Because see, that's key. When people talk about how relationships are hard work, because people are too selfish. People are too used to being alone. People cannot make the commitment to think about someone else first when they're making a decision. Because see, if you were in a true situation like that works well, then that man is making a decision based on everything you are concerned about before he even gets to his own thoughts on the matter. It doesn't happen. It happens rarely. So therefore, because I am not a Christian, I'm not down with this submit bullshit. And if motherfuckers be like, that's why you single, be like, okay, that's why I'm single. I'm happy. Because I've been married, and you have to understand the type of wife that I was is in the past. I was that kind of fool. I remember the first time that my first husband had to wait for his plate. And it was because I was feeding children. And he had nerve to pout like a little bitch-ass baby. And I was like, I know you didn't. You get your fucking plate when you get up and get it yourself, or you wait till I finish feeding these kids. That bitch will have you feeding a man before you feed your own kids, and most of these women have kids before they got that man, so that means you going to feed some motherfucker before you feed your flesh? The fuck out of here. I just had to delete somebody. Now she's up in my inbox, and I done told you if I delete, you don't fucking come and talk to me. I don't want to fuck with you. Talking about perspective. No. Talking about how herpes and other things be suppressed, and how she is actually, this is what made me speak about this, telling women that white women don't tell their partners if they have herpes. Bitch, that's why at least a third of the U.S. population is running around here with herpes. Because you don't tell. You just keep passing the shit around like it's fucking Tootsie Rolls or something. You can get herpes with using a condom. Know that. Know that there is no cure for herpes. Know that Valtrex, there still is a 2% chance that you can give your partner herpes. Herpes is painful, and herpes is for life. And herpes can lie dormant in your system for 20 years, so you could be in the middle of a happy, healthy marriage, and both of y'all bust out with a herpes outbreak and have no fucking idea where you've got it from. And I've seen marriages end because of it. But the doctor wasn't smart enough to tell them that y'all could have had this shit in your bodies for years before you even met each other. In fact, if you have herpes and you have a child, a lot of the times they want you to get a C-section, or they do special treatment in the child's eyes so the child doesn't get herpes, especially if you're having an outbreak, which pregnancy will cause due to the stress. People don't know about herpes. But this, in this fucking post, this bitch, I was clear, this chick named Regina Mitchell, I don't know who the hell she is, talking about some perspective and some other bullshit. And I'm just like, I'm going to delete your motherfucking ass right now, because you clearly don't have the good sense that God gave you. Those are the types of people that this woman was able to traffic. Because basically, you're paying her, from what I can see, $30,000 to human traffic you. To get you with some hotep or some Hebrew Israelite or other crazy ass man. It was a post. Some woman started wanting to talk about her position on genital diseases. Some woman wanted to talk about perspective, and somebody else was like, no, this bitch is actually passing around really bad health information, or encouraging black women to lie to their husbands. And that's what made me go, okay, it's time to make a video. So we're gonna scoot to the next part of this topic. My network connection was acting up, so you'll have to forgive me. It's recording as the network connection acts stupid. I'm gonna have to take a minute and invest in something that's going to strengthen the signal in this house, because I've already had the internet repaired and it still acts up every now and then. So, now we've talked about that crazy ass wife school, and somebody made a very valid point that these women, and they probably took out loans to do this because they don't really look that affluent, took out these loans or did whatever and gave this woman, when they could have been fixing their credit, doing whatever else, because they were so desperate for a man, $30,000 to go to wife school. Anybody can pay, teach her to be a fool, but these chicks done paid for it. And that's the part that just really is blowing me at this particular moment in time. You know, but then when I have a $500 class, okay, yeah, she obviously didn't read my rules, because I was like, what the fuck? You gotta be kidding. You really fucking have to be kidding. They aren't even married. They ain't even marry him yet. Ain't that a goddamn shame? Whoo, there's some scam artists out here, y'all. One of the things I'm trying to do is give you an honest product. That's why I like to do more products than readings, because I want to put magic in your hands. And that's going to lead me to, yeah, they sure have lost their rabbit ass minds. Lead me to my next point, priorities. So I have people balking at paying $500 for my root work class. $500 to take it remotely, $475 to do it in person. Guess what? The price is going up next year. You know, this puts magic in your hands. Now, another thing is I've got about maybe a third of the people that I really thought I was going to get for the virtual class. So I'm going to extend the deadline for the virtual class until October 1st. And I'll change all that stuff on my website and announce that today. But one of the things that I was telling somebody is, I was giving her a reading yesterday, and one of the things is she has all these gifts to give, but she's been giving them to the wrong people. They've been taking advantage of her financially and emotionally. So now she's at the point where instead of having boundaries, she's put up walls. And see, the thing is you can't have that give and take in emotional relationships in your life if you have a wall. What you have to do is you have to establish boundaries, kind of like the electric fence versus a stone wall. Where it says, well, you can see me and you have access to me, but there's still some things that you are not going to cross. And so too often we want to give, I gotta stretch, I just got up. Too often we want to give, well, if that sounds like you, honey, you have to do something to fix that. Because what happens is, and she was at that place, giving, and then to the point where she was like not wanting to give anymore. Giving till it's all used up. Giving to the point where the bitterness gets in the way of joy. So, you have to understand, as my student, you're not just sitting up here learning how to mix roots and concoctions. I'm like kind of telling you the shit the spirits tell me. And I'm telling you the stuff that I had to learn the hard way. Just as parents, like you teach your kids to tie their shoes and you teach them to tie their shoes the right way so the shoes don't keep coming untied so they don't have to keep tying their shoes, right? So, yay, you're coming next month. Excellent. Oh, yes, we'll see you next month at the meeting. We are responsible, whether we are spiritual parents or whether we are regular parents, to make sure that the people who are under our stewardship don't have to learn some of the really hard lessons that we do, give them an advantage in this world. But there are going to be some things you're going to have to learn on your own. And doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result, definition of insanity. Truly insane people don't even know that they're doing it. And that's always why I'm asking people when I have these readings with them, have you talked to a therapist? Somewhere, sadly, in this culture of self-hate as Black people, we have left ourselves exposed. We believe that therapy and mental health services are for white people. Hell, when I was a kid and I was in school, they made fun of me for speaking. Yeah, Rebecca, I'm going to talk about that for just a second in a minute. I want to make that point, and I made that point to her yesterday when I was reading for her. But, think about that. When I was a kid, speaking the commerce English and being intelligent was seen as being white. When we, and it's evidenced, created civilization, writing, and the like. So how is that white? So, we have psyched ourselves out and thinking that mental health services are for just for white people. And we continue to suffer in our trauma and never move forward. Okay? Exactly. Self-care, mental health services. That's another thing, priorities. Like Rebecca said that, she's like, my root work class changed her life. I've seen people like, there's a young woman named Jatan who attended, and she is a completely different person than when she started out. Monica Jeffries has started a whole business for Yanni Health and things like that. Ever since they came to Work 201, and they all came to the hands-on when they haven't taken the virtual. And the virtual one, this is a pilot. They've made some real life changes, and it has shit to do with me, y'all. What happens is, the whole thing about Mary Magdalene taking away Christ's successor, you're right, because they tried to write women out of the Bible because we were becoming too powerful in that cult, in the cult of Jesus Christ. We became too powerful, so Paul tried to erase women and, tell us to sit down. And I don't know what woman could read that and accept that as truth, number one, or their destiny, to sit in some bullshit that negates the creators of life. To sit in subservience to men. But people paid $30,000 to do that. I'm like, bitch, my prices ain't high enough. The fuck out of here. So, but the thing is, it's amazing what we will pay for. It's amazing what we will give pieces of ourselves and our finances to. And that includes not just scam artists and scam workers, but scam classes and scam ass relationships. I don't give a fuck if it's your family, your man, your dick, your woman. $30,000? And don't, people want to laugh at these people who did this, but think about all the money that you gave to good dick. I'll wait. Think about all the money you could have saved if you had your priorities right. I know I'm sitting here looking at the fact that right now, as we very fucking speak, I'm trying to buy my kids a car. Why? We have one great car. It's a year old, but I've put 25,000 miles on it in 1 year. Driving around all these different goddamn festivals. I'm really starting to think that I'm going to go trade this in and get me a minivan. But my daughter was saying, well, why don't we just get an older, bigger vehicle for, home, and she'll take the newer one to school, and we'll drive the brakes off of this older, larger vehicle because it's tight as a fuck in my back seat with 2 car seats and try to fit a human being back there. And so it fits just our family. And both of these girls drive, and we have lives and we have things to do, so it would be good to have another car. So imagine me doing this mental inventory of the relationships that I've had with men, both husbands especially, and the money that went to them that could have stayed in my goddamn pocket. The money that went to them that could have went in my savings account because nobody taught either one of those Negroes how to save. And unfortunately, I wasn't given good financial habits either. Think about the real estate I could have had. Think about the store I could have. See, so all this shit is 20/20 hindsight. But it's got a lot to do with priorities and home training. And so our challenge as women, and I don't give a damn if you got sons or daughters and men, is teach our kids how to be financially responsible. To teach our children to be emotionally responsible. To teach our children not to mistreat people or take advantage. A conversion van. I was thinking about that. What I was really thinking about doing was taking an old food truck and turning it into a Conjure mobile. Because then I'd still have all of the accoutrements in the truck that I would need to do root work. And then do readings out of the truck or at a table from the truck. And travel the country. I just like a store. I really, every time I put up a GoFundMe, because it's a huge, and every time I do a divination, ask the spirits, every time I find a property, the spirits tell me no. And it's like, I want to get the store out of my house. And man, but, when I stopped to think about it, and I was talking to this young woman who I was doing a reading for, because I think that she will also, there's stuff in her, there's things spirits want her to make, like teas and, spiritual blends, seasoning blends that could have spiritual connotations. So I'm telling her, you need to get on your passion. And there were a few students that I refer to root work that come out of readings. Most people just got dumbass questions and ain't on their shit and ain't ready for nothing. But she's got the maturity and the experience and, and the passion to learn how to do this and to really make a business out of it. But I still have to have the ability. Hey, Nicole, I'll be in Chicago next weekend for Fallout Boy. Right, a bread truck. Right, George? You can look, y'all. There's only a certain amount of things I'm gonna do, and that would be one of them if I had the time and the patience. But that takes a lot of work. So everyone wants a Conjure mobile, but see, that's another thing. I hate to drive, so somebody else would have to drive it. But so the thing is, having the ability to pay for, you all who make spiritual products to stock my store, because that's my goal, not just to sell my stuff. People get these stores and they're like, I gotta sell my stuff, and no, I'm not gonna sell your oils, and no, I'm not gonna sell your candles. Variety is the spice of life. What works for some people? Well, I got a couple cemeteries to go to while I'm there on Sunday, Nicole. So inbox me. I got to go pay some spirits for that dirt that we got last time at Oakwood. It's been a couple years since we did that, but I moved right afterwards. So I have some spirits I have to pay. But the situation is this, that's why I was saying, people who stood by me, people who are my friends, people who are talented in this industry, I'm going to want your products, but you're going to have to send them on consignment at first, because it costs a lot to get a store going, even to go into a store, paint the walls, get fixtures. I ain't no money for that right now. And the store is doing extremely well, but supplies, life, paying bills, all of those things require money. And so the reality of the matter is, in order to have the botanica that I want to build, I will have to have other people's products. Just like in order to have the psychic line that I want to build, I'm going to have many, many, many different types of psychics. I'm not going to be able to that was the problem. What happened with Miss Cleo? She was a real psychic, and I heard that she was initiated as well. But what happened was she got so popular that she couldn't be on the line for every single person. So they decided they were going to hire all these people, and they weren't necessarily psychics, and they were going to start reading off of scripts. And there you go. That's when they destroyed that poor woman's reputation. Good morning, Mumbo Yansa. So, you got to do stuff like this with a little foresight. And I'm hoping that blackpsychics.com, I'm going to need you to go with me Sunday, because I'm going to be digging more dirt, and I'm going to need people to watch so I don't get arrested. So, because I need some more Jesse Owens dirt for that Jesse Owens graveyard dust. But in any case, so that's why they called her a scam, because what happened was she grew to the point where she couldn't take these calls. She was working 24/7. You couldn't do that. So what happens is you call Miss Cleo's line expecting to speak to Miss Cleo. You get one of Miss Cleo's friends. So I'm just going to start off with Miss Cleo's friends. You know what I'm saying? But I'm going to start off with people who are really legitimate readers, and they're not reading off of a script. Yeah, but money can make you change your priorities. And that's, getting back and wrapping up this live and what this is all about. Never let money be so much to you that you lose track of your mission. Never let money sway you from your goal, the lack thereof, or the bountifulness of it. My alarm that says, bitch, get up. It's like, really, get up. We want to be able to not, we want to have money. Money is nice. Don't let these people pull you into that subservient, and then some of that law of attraction shit that says that having nice things is a bad thing, or because you don't have nice things, it's all your fault. Sometimes it is your fault. And that's what I want you to remember, though. We too often make the same mistakes over and over again, thinking, well, I'm a good person, I'm a giving person, I'm not going to change because somebody mistreated me, when you really just a goddamn fool. and you really do want to change because somebody took advantage of you. Now, that does not mean that you are bitter. That does not mean that you have baggage that you're taking out on the next person. Look, bitch, how you doing? I haven't seen Nick in a minute. I'm sorry. That's my homie. Anyways, look. We don't have to be the same fool twice. You don't have to give your all to the point of self-sacrifice in a relationship in order to be a good working component in said relationship. You don't have to break your own spirit in order to strengthen the spirit of someone else. And that's exactly what that chick is teaching. But funny, we don't really need people like her. Because I've read for plenty of women who haven't been to wife school who do this to themselves all the fucking time. You know, and at some point, you have to understand, and I was telling my person that I read for the other day, once you start working on your own personal spirit, your own development, and your own passions, you will find that want, need, and desire for and I'm sorry, my network connection is acting up, and I'm hoping that it will come back. God damn. Yeah, my network connection acted up. I was hoping it would come back. But when you really start getting into your passions, your interests, and most importantly, your spirituality, your life becomes incredibly full. You are not holding on to past hurts. But you also are not a pick-me. You also are not desperate for the love of another person because you have the love of an almighty creator and your ancestors and your spirits around you where you literally feel that love. And you also love yourself. But it was funny because I think it was the Six of Cups. That's her end card. You know, that you will be able to grow something with someone. And you will be able to both contribute, bring gifts to the table, and then produce gifts of your own. And see, that's the thing. That's what wife school should be about. How do you create the woman within yourself that brings something to the table? Because we always talk about what we want. Why? Because we're tired of working. We're this damn recording. Okay, there. I'm leaning towards my living room. I'm in my bedroom right now, y'all. And I'm leaning towards my living room so that my signal doesn't die. But what is it that you bring to the table as a woman? Yes, I'm old school. I think a man should be able to cook too. I think a man is just as pitiful who can't cook as a woman. But who raised you if you're a woman walking around here and you can't fucking boil water? I'm trying to teach my girls to sew, to cook, not to take care of a man, to take care of their goddamn selves. That's just a bonus, you know? And there are men out here who sew. All the fucking lead designers are men. Why is that? One of the biggest designers are men. I mean, we got a few women, but let's talk about that. All of the big names that were chefs, mostly men. So, it behooves you as a woman to know how to do these things too. It's not a sexist thing. Learn how to be worth something to yourself. Learn how to grow your own food so when they turn off the motherfucking grid, you won't starve to death. Learn how to patch up your clothes so when you're poor, you can still look good. Learn how to recycle clothing and reinvent clothing because you know how it's built so you can take it apart and rebuild it. Because even though you're broke, you don't have to look that way. And that's going to go a long way with your mentality. I know how to build a Dow house. Therefore, I could take some of those concepts that I've learned when I go to build my tiny house, or if I went to go build a real house, because I have an idea of how structures work. Just because you know how to sew doesn't mean you make everything that you wear, but you certainly can walk into a department store and look at the clothing and decide whether or not it's quality enough for you to be spending your money on it because you know how clothes are made. How many people can do that? So the thing is not to become dependent on things being done for you. I talked to this one girl who was had to escape an abusive relationship, and I asked her why it took a while for her to be able to do that, and she was saying that she at some point didn't have anywhere to go, didn't have any money. But the reality of the matter was, when that person first was abused, they did have some savings, they did have a cut and run fund, but chose to stay. And so my question is this to all of us: the first time you notice that somebody is going to either verbally or physically abuse you, the first time. So that's what happens, is we let it slide maybe the first, second, third, fourth, fifth time until we really think that, we're going to die. That's, got to be the craziest thing. No woman is ever to blame. No man is ever to blame as being a victim of domestic violence. But we've got to do better. At the first sign of trouble, we've got to learn to leave. Because yes, the longer that you stay, the harder it's going to be. There may be kids introduced into the mix. I knew a woman that has several kids, okay? More than I'd be comfortable having. And was not pregnant or had any children the first time he put his hands on her. And see, that's a no from me, dog. Because the first time, I'm gone. I don't give a goddamn if I have to sell ass in the street. And that's the mentality that we have to start getting people used to. Hey, Tiff, we got to get people used to taking care of self to the point where we're not willing to make another, okay, Ricky, I don't know you, so you can't be in my video. We got to get to the point where the first time we feel like this is some bullshit, that we have the courage to walk away. Present company included have stayed in relationships thinking, I don't have anywhere to go. I remember the first time I realized that it was time to go, which was stupid because, when he slapped me, the first year we were married, I told him I wanted a divorce. And, honey, I may not have time to meet everybody while I'm in Chicago. I'm just coming in and out for a concert. Nicole and I just have some cemetery business to take care of. Right, Nicole, Tiffany, right. We talked about your situation. But first time my first husband slapped me, he only hit me once because I'm a crazy bitch. He was sorry he bought those Gensus for me. This was 30 years ago. But that's when I should have left. And I said I was leaving, and I didn't. So the emotional abuse continued for 9 fucking years. Don't be me. The first time, and Mother Maya tells you, when somebody shows you who they are, believe them the first time. The first motherfucking time. Because when that person got out and moved to another state for somebody else, she had the money to get out. And she chose not to. So she had to move when the situation became so desperate that her very mind and life was at risk. Stop putting yourself in those positions. Yes, Jasmine, that's exactly what I was talking about with this particular young lady, with these 2 people that I've read for in the past couple of days. This ain't just romantic relationships. We do this with our friends. We do this with our family. And I'm going to tell you and share this with people because somebody needs a damn word today. It's the most liberating thing in the world. First of all, most of these people who do this and who give and give and give and get nothing but abuse in return, when they get that freedom, baby, you get that freedom. It's like, oh my God. I've been living like this. I've been a prisoner. And you realize, oh, wow, what you can do when somebody walks around talking about what you can't do. I remember my first husband, I don't even think he co-signed for my car. I don't even know how the fuck this happened. But when I got my car note for my very first car, his name was on the note above mine. And this motherfucker had the nerve to laugh and tell me, see, I told you you couldn't do anything without me. Oh. Now, mind you, because I've always been the bitch I've been. He never said no shit like that again when I got through with his ass. And when I got through with the Carno people, they sent me my motherfucking booklet with just my name on it. That's like when my second husband left and my dumbass landlord asked me how I was going to pay the rent. I said, whose fucking name do you see on those checks? This Negro ain't had no job since we moved here. Get the hell out of here. Stop letting these people, I'm like, that's like the devil card where you are in chains but they ain't locked. Stop letting these people be your devil. Stop being a devil to yourself. That's the real devil. We ain't talking about the adversary. We ain't talking about Baal. We ain't talking about Baphomet is not the devil. We're not talking about Lucifer, the angel, the light bearer. We're talking about the real motherfucking evil. And I really like the way the Unity Church spins this, that the real devil is ignorance. The spirit, that very alive spirit of ignorance that will keep you doing dumb shit day after day after day after day. Until something clicks and says, hey, bitch, you're doing some dumb shit. You're doing some really dumb shit. Yes, that freedom. You shouldn't have to wait till you're 40, 50, 60 years old to get it. You shouldn't have to go through a lifetime of oppression in order to have your own freedom. In fact, like my daughter got mad at me the other day because she wanted to go to her boyfriend's house and study. And I was like, you can't tell me nothing day of and expect me to drive you over there. That's 15 minutes. That's a half an hour round trip. I got shit to do today. I'm sorry. And what she was saying is, and this thing keeps, come on, network connection. There we go. Yeah. She was saying to me, you know, well, you told me I didn't have to ask permission to go places because she's 16. She's damn near grown and she's a straight A student and she's super responsible and she's never given me any real problems a day in her life. But yeah, you don't have to ask. You just say, hey, I'm finna go out with my friends. I'll be back such and such. But when you start involving me in your freedom, then it's a different story. So while she has freedom, she has to still have consideration for other people's situations. You could just rewind. Y'all kill me when you miss a live. You act like you can't watch it. Just go back and watch it and share it with your friends. Stop, pause, take notes, do whatever the fuck you got to do. But that's the thing. My daughter has freedom, but at the same time, she's still held by the restrictions of her personal relationships. That's an example. That's an example of when they say marriage or whatever relationships is work. You got freedom to do whatever you want in the situation. However, you do have to make considerations for other people's times, needs, wants, and desires. People don't want to do that. Or it's always one-sided. We're just the ones making that consideration. I'm not going to be that mama. And she got mad at me. But I'm not going to be that person because I'm not going to train her to be that person. Because that very same girl is going to turn into a woman who is then going to think that she can just do whatever at the drop of the hat with her husband or a spouse or a mate or a significant other because she's bi like I am and she may not end up with a man. And just drop that shit on them and it's going to be okay. And I'm not going to train my child to do that. And I'm not going to allow my child to be with anybody who does that. Because I was pissed off. We were on our way. I actually was going to drop her off at his house. And then when she called him, he was like, I'm not ready. For company, I got to do a few more things. No, I didn't turn around and drive her back over there. I had shit to do. She got an Uber. And she going to pay for it too. And that's what I'm talking about. It's the interaction. Well, yes, it is the interaction. You like to catch somebody live. I don't really watch a lot of people live on Facebook because they don't be talking about shit. And I really need, and I want y'all to please, please, please stop tagging me in shit without my permission because some of y'all ain't got good sense. I don't want to read your videos about your hangovers and illnesses and sometimes I don't even want to listen to your videos about your spiritual awakening because you ain't there yet and I'm just too polite to tell you no. You know, I don't get on here talking about how, woke I done got, because I'm waking every day. And so, I'm just telling folks, stop tagging me and shit. Unless you're my personal friends like Nick and Antoine, who know what I dig. People always tag me and print stuff, and that's nice, but sometimes I'm not in the mood to see that either, because it makes me sad. Tagging me in their products and in their festivals that I wouldn't go to if you paid me. Some of this shit y'all be trying to tag people in, so don't be offended if, number one, I remove my tag. Don't. See you later, Mary. Hey, Melissa. Don't be offended if I ask you why you tagged me. And really, don't be scratching your head when I delete your ass, because this chick done reached out to me that I deleted for that bullshit with that white school this morning. A matter of perspective. Human trafficking is not a motherfucking perspective. Oppression, misogyny, and chauvinism are not a motherfucking perspective. Oppressive Christianity is not a motherfucking perspective. I'm sorry. The fuck out of here with that. So I'm going to go hop in the shower and start my day. And today's going to be great. I got about 10 orders already packed up that my daughter did yesterday, and I'm going to get those in the mail, and I'm going to go down and make a few more, and I'm going to make life happen. I'm getting the Goddess Retreat letters out today. The deposit was supposed to be due tomorrow. I don't know if that date's going to change, but you all were aware of the date, as well as the voodoo letter, because those letters were, while being ready last night, were not approved by my mambo, and that has to be before I send things out. So, love, peace, and Afro Grease. If you want to keep up with what I'm doing, follow me and use See First so that you don't miss an update, because I cannot, like all you guys who want to work for blackpsychics.com, I can't follow up with you. I can't keep lists and stuff like that. Y'all keep inboxing me when I keep telling you I ain't hiring you right now. The site's not even up right now. And I'm not interviewing right now. There's a small group of diviners that are going to do work on the site to begin with, to build the reputation in its name. And as I need more psychics, I will reach out to you. But I can't keep track of all that. So, I'm doing the best I can. And so do See First so that you don't miss my lives, so that you get notifications, and so that you don't miss anything that we're doing. Because I'm one person. I just realized that it's really hard sometimes not to get a little overwhelmed, because I have all these fucking ideas. I'm like that little black girl on Higglytown Heroes, and their squirrel is over in the corner talking about, because I've got all these ideas and I'll announce them, and yeah, they do take a while to manifest, but I just want to throw shit out there and be like, hey, and maybe sometimes I should rethink that. But in the meantime, I got shit to do today, and I hope that you guys do too. I hope you have a purpose today, a purpose that will help to develop you, okay? A purpose that will help everyone else around you, and that will feed people equally so that you don't feel like you've been used. Have a blessed day. Bye-bye.